everyone, today I'd like to show you how I process druzy crystals and also crystal clusters. When the crystals are small or stardust-like, it's called druzy. Druzy is a coating of fine crystals on a rock surface within a vug or cavities or geode. Pieces of druzy like this I leave as a specimen for my display cabinet. All I did to it was wash it and clean it. This one, when found, has already got a hole or a crack on the surface of the geode, and all I did was cut it and polish the edges. Also, this piece here and that one, both of them came from the same area. So to display this, all I'm going to do is glue the other piece onto that, maybe that way or that way. So it's showing some nice druzy crystals on them, so it wouldn't be worth my while to cut them into small pieces and turn them into jewelry, so they're best kept as a specimen. Also, this big piece here came from Morella. That's showing the egg, or it was a geode, as you can see, and also the reverse side there's also some tiny druzy crystals. But I'm going to display this by gluing a piece of the Morella crystal, which is a smoky quartz that's got water inclusion. So that one on the tip there, you can see that white blob on the tip there, that's a water inclusion or anhydro. So I would just glue this on top of this part. So I think that would look better in my display cabinet. This one is a good example of how the crystals grew on top of a crystal. If I turn this over in the bottom, those are green quartz all through it, and more crystals grew on top. So I'm going to leave this one as is, as a specimen as well. A lot of times when prospecting for crystals, you will find pieces that's already quite large, like this one. If the crystal points are perfect, then I would just wash this and put it in the display cabinet. But in this case, crystal points already been damaged. So every single one, as you can see, has been damaged. So with big pieces like this, I would tend to cut this across, extracting every single piece of crystal. And the big ones, I would polish them up, because it's really difficult to polish this while still intact. So you won't get a flat surface like this one here. So with this one, I will still leave this intact the way it is, because although the tips or the points are damaged, I would still be able to polish this. So I just don't know how to show this to you. So say that face there, as you can see on the side, if I turn it around, you can see that has a flat surface wherein, I just have to turn this on the edge here, wherein I could spare this part of the crystal from being grinded. So as you can see that, so I can put this at the edge of my flat lap and polish it. And also that side, as you can see. So pieces like this, I'm not going to cut them or separate them. I will leave this one as is as well, so that in the future I could just polish this and still have the points on the crystal surface. Now I'm going to cut this big piece that I don't really like, but once I cut this, I'll be able to extract the big crystals and polish them. Then I would like them much better. So now I've cut around the crystal, and there's still a little bit in the center that's hanging on. So now I'm going to get my tile snip and just tap this. Just gently, as you can see. So now I only got a tiny bit to cut off. So now the next step is I'll see if I can split them up using a tile snip by just hitting it a little bit. Whoops. There you go. So now I'm able to extract a big crystal. And those ones ended up with a cluster, but I'm still able to split it up. So as I polish this, I will leave the shaft, and that way I've got something to hold on to when I'm polishing and grinding this. So now I've got another big piece here, and those ones I'll just put it in another container here, and I'm going to continue hitting this. And I would also advise, if you're doing this, unless you got really thick calluses or skin like I do, I suggest wear gloves, because the crystal fractures are quite sharp. It's like a needle. So really sharp, so be careful because you can cut yourself. Again, gonna hit it and see how it just crumbles up. So now, because I'm after that big crystal here, and then the small ones are hanging on, so I'm just gonna snip it. Got two small ones. There's still another couple here hanging on to the big crystal. There you go, and there's still another one on the side that just fallen off. So now I got a bigger piece that looks like a lollipop that I can actually polish, and lots of little pointy crystals. And then that one, snip it off. So now I've got a few large crystals that I can polish. I will show you in the future how to polish crystal faces. Now this one is also another example. It's got big crystals or cluster of crystals, and the points are also damaged, but because of the way it's formed, it is quite attractive to just leave it as is for display specimen. Now these ones are clusters of crystals, which most points are damaged. This one I might polish later on because it's got a nice clear crystal in the corner here, which although it's got a bit of damage there, I can still polish the points or the face on this side, like this piece here. So I've polished 1, 2, 3, 4 sides or facets or face of the crystal, and I think that looks much better compared to how it was when we found it. And these ones are all tumbled up pieces, so there's no definite point on them, and this ones is similar to them, and I just grinded each facet or crystal face and polished it. But these ones I will definitely split this up open to see what crystals I can get out of it, and also that one because I can see a lot of clear crystals on this, which are all or the points being damaged. Now this piece I'm going to cut off on the edge of the matrix because I want to extract the crystals, but I'm just studying it first up because it looks like there's a crack here that goes around through there, so I might be able to just snip this off with my tile snip, just grabbing the edge of the crystal. Whoops. Excellent. So now I can see the compacted sandstone where it's sitting on or where it grew on, and so now that one still quite cute the way it is, but I might just leave that as a little specimen, and I'm going to work on this one because I'm really after this big crystal here and to see what else is hidden inside them. So now I'm going to cut it off. The matrix is really soft because it's just compacted sandstone where the crystal formed, and so now I'm going to use my snip, my tile snip. So as you can see, that's all got iron stains inside all through it. So now, while I've got the camera set up here, I might as well show you how I'm gonna snip this off and see what I can get. They're quite soft and it's just crumbling. So now the big piece, has got a tiny little broken crystal on the side, and it's got calcification on the top, and there's actually druzy on the top of that. So now if I just polished the 3 faces, then I would have something that I can use for making into a jewelry or pendant. And all the other little pieces as well, even that would actually come out beautiful as a pendant. So just wire wrap it here, and you still got the nice point. And this one would actually make into a nice pendant. So out of that one piece, I've got a few pieces that I could turn into jewelries, and probably that other one as well. And this one, you can see it's got both sides, so as that one. So this one, I found this as is and did not do anything to it apart from cleaning it. And this one, I grinded the edges, and I might still cut this on the sides here to make it into a pendant, so that way it will sit flush on the chest to make into a beautiful pendant. So now I'll just have to grind the back and smoothen it, but at least now that would sit nicely as a pendant. These ones here I already grinded and polished them. Like this one, this piece in particular is double-sided, so this will make a beautiful double-sided pendant. This one, I've cut it from the matrix. And these ones are little fragments or little chips. So there's a couple of crystals in them. This one I didn't have to do anything to it because it just broken off from the matrix. So all I did was just wash and clean it. Again, more examples of ones that I've done. And this one is also a double-sided, and there's also tiny crystals in the bottom here. That one grinded and polished. And again, another piece that broken off, which I didn't have to do anything to. This one is actually an agate egg, which I cut in half, and you can see some druzy crystals inside. And pieces like this is the Morella crystal, which when cut in half, there's a lot of druzy crystals inside that one there, but it's got that orange dirt that's still on them. And this one, I'm able to clean it much better. So now with this little piece here that's got a protruding crystal on the edge, I'm gonna need to cut around and grind off. And also, I've got another piece like the same Morella crystal or Morella geode, but this one has got a big crystal right in the center, and all the druzy around it, even the bigger crystal there, it looks quite nice. So what I want to do is take off all of this on the edges, and so that way I'll just be left with the center clusters of crystals. I've also cut off or trim off the back. Trimming it is much easier and quicker than grinding it off, so I like to trim off everything as much as I can. So now it'll be much quicker to grind it off. So now this one, I'll show you what this looks like after I cut it off, or maybe after I grinded the edges. So now after grinding, see, that looks like an eye. And the other one with a protruding crystal in the back of it. Beautiful orange rhyolite. Another agate with amethyst druzy. So it's more of a geode with a small cavity inside. And this one, another piece of agate, was got Druzy quartz inside. And these pieces here are as I've found them. I've only washed them. Now this piece is quite large, but it will make a beautiful pendant, and from the side you can see it's quite thick. What I want to do is cut straight across here and grind it off. Now up the top here there's a bit of fracture line, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to snip this off with my tile snip. There you go. Still got a bit of druzy in it, so which means I can still just grind the back off. And this one now, if it sits that way, just grind off the white part in the corner here. So, and cut it off in the back, and that will turn out to be a nice big pendant. Now I've cut off the back, and as you can see, that's still quite thick, but I can grind it off to make it thinner. But this side of it, I'm gonna trim off and also make it sit this way. So which means I have to cut a little piece at the back here to make it sit sort of that way. See that point there? So now after trimming it off, now that's ready to be grinded. When you're grinding some stones, never ever grind it on one spot. So always keep it moving. That way you don't wear out your wheels. Now after grinding and polishing, you can see that that actually is a beautiful piece. So even when it sits on your chest from the side there, the white and dark matrix actually gives it a bit more character. That will make into a beautiful pendant. Now these 3 pieces of crystals are quite large. So you can see that one, I think it used to have calcifications on top, or it might even be druzy crystals growing on top, but over time it has been tumbled up and therefore losing a lot of the druzy crystals that grew on top of these large smoky quartz crystals. So this one I would leave it as is and not do anything to it, because that's a good example of how you find it in Mother Nature as natural. Also these ones, even this one has got a damaged tip because it came from an old-timer's malachite. They were looking for tin and did not bother with the crystals. So they threw it all away and we found them through their heap. And also that one, this one's actually quite sharp. The points of it, it has a little bit of knock in the corner, but I'm still gonna leave that as is, because when you display that, you're only seeing that part of it. So since it's at the back, so it's still worth saving it and not doing anything to it. So that's actually like a gradual transition of how the crystals get tumbled up. So probably another piece in the front here of a really sharp crystal would be great. And to that, so how it gradually transforms. So when I display this, I display them as like that, and I have to find another clear crystal that's elongated to go in the front of it, maybe a smaller one. So that just to show the different stages of crystal weathering. Now, this piece here is quite large, and as you can see, it's all tumbled up. So there's no definite point on the surface, so it's all tumbled up. So as you can see, the point as well is all stubby and rounded off. And now if I put a light through this one, you can see how clear it is. Now some people would probably just cut this up and turn it into small pieces of crystal and facet it, or I could actually cut this one up and facet it and turn it into a big faceted crystal, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do with this one, so you can see even the tip of it is very, very, very transparent. Once I polish the surface of this, then this would be a really, really good specimen for my display cabinet.